So that is the technologies that are driving our society. What is really happening with this kind of technology is it's an increase in productivity. Productivity is the genius of industrialism. More output for less input. And the steam engine produced more power and therefore transportation in railroads and steamships and in factories. Petroleum produced even more. Electricity produced the ability to distribute power everywhere. Lights, electric motors, factories, whatever. And now this digital revolution is giving us more productivity. Well, it gives us more productivity. We thought it was going to give us more leisure. Fooled on that one, weren't we, right? I mean, you don't have to go to the library anymore. You don't have to fill out and mail a purchase order anymore. You don't have to wait for someone to return a phone call anymore because you're right there and they're right there, and it's instantaneous. But of course, now what we're doing is dealing with 100 times the communication that we did before, and we're expected to be instantly available. So it didn't produce any more leisure, but more productivity. Imagine what it used to be to communicate with someone in business. You wanted to send an order or a letter. Write out the letter. Somebody type the letter, retype it, correct it, sign it, give it to the post office. 2 or 3 days later, pretty often, most of the time, it actually got there. And then they had to write the letter and type it and redo it. You know, so this took a week. This could now take 3 minutes. That's productivity. So from a week to 3 minutes, this is not 5% change. This is not little stuff. This is jaw-dropping. Our grandfathers and grandmothers would be amazed at the ability. It's like magic. I remember the first time I saw a spreadsheet add up a set of numbers. Oh my God. Wow. Is that cool or what? I was a statistics teacher, so maybe I've been cool for you, but it really is cool for me. But you know, you get on and you're Skyping with your grandkids in New York or Shanghai or Berlin. Wait a minute, I remember the first time I sent a fax to Europe. There's really a piece of paper over there that that just happened because I just did this thing. A piece of paper, not a phone call, but a piece of paper appeared somewhere instantaneously because of what I did. Remember when we used to call up right after sending the fax and ask them if they got the fax? We didn't really trust that piece of paper was going to be there, but we had to always check afterwards. Nevertheless. So this is productivity of 100x times. And therefore, this is where business is competitive. Everybody's got their own business and formulas and leadership and smarts and entrepreneurial. But if you're not up to date on existing means of productivity, and the other guy is, you are going to be at a huge competitive disadvantage. So as much as we don't like to have to use new technology because it doesn't work as well, we're not as comfortable with it, we're not as familiar with it, we are living now in a new technical era. An era for which we were not prepared, we were not taught. Nobody told us that you're going to have to use an iPad when you're 55 years old. But if you don't, what happens? We were at my wife's school's volleyball game on Saturday, and the coach of the other team had this iPad, and she said, that's why they were winning. This iPad. That wasn't why they were winning. But that was it. So she has this thing. And so it's all over the place. And so we have to go along with it. The kids, what do you mean go along with it? It's like going along with television. You didn't have to go along with television. Television was television. You didn't have to go along with automobiles. Automobiles were automobiles. We woke up in a world in which those things were taken for granted. Now we're having to adapt to their world and to their technologies and things. So, what do you do with productivity? There's 4 things you can do. With the output, you can make more of it and therefore sell more of it. Or you can make it better and charge a higher price because now you have time and resources to be able to do that. Or you can drop the price because it's more efficient. Or you can do things much faster and produce them with less delay in time. And that's what's been the history of technology all throughout the ages. And though we do not want to hear it, the benefit of capitalism and industrialism is always to be able to do more with less. Now as consumers, that's great, because we get more for less. As producers, that's the discipline of the marketplace. You have to do more with less. And that's not just in business. We're asking our educators to do more with less. We're asking our government officials to do more with less. We're asking all kinds of people to do more with less because that's what we've come to expect, because now we have technologies that will be able to do that. So the information technology revolution that we've had, what's going to be the historical significance of it? We can talk about iPhones and gadgets and wireless and all that kind of stuff. Fundamentally, most technologies have reduced time, made things quicker, and reduced space, made things essentially closer. It used to take 5 months to go from New York to San Francisco before the railroad. After that, it was 5 days. That's a 30x improvement. Now it's 5 hours on the 737. That's another 25x improvement. 30 times 25 is a 750 times improvement. That's what we're experiencing with this kind of productivity, this technology. So, new technologies always reduce time and space. In this case, what we're doing is reducing the material component of communication. The material component. Every communication other than the telephone and the TV between businesses was, and between anyone, always was attached to something, attached to this thing. Whether it was a letter, or whether it was a book, or a purchase order, or a check, or anything, it was that. And those things were wonderful. The printing press made its own revolution in the 15th and 16th century. But if it's on here, then you've got to move this someplace. And that's time consuming. It takes a lot of energy to move that kind of stuff around. Now we get books online. Now we get all kinds of things. So we have what is called the dematerialization of things. Since communism doesn't exist anymore, I'm allowed to quote Karl Marx. He was talking about the ancient regime, all things solid, the things that people thought were true were now melting into thin air. So libraries, and cinemas, retail stores, letters and purchase orders and books and all of those things. Now they're not going away, but they are going to have to accommodate to a non-virtual, a non-material way of getting it. I was just talking to the newspaper reporter from the Abilene paper today. Talk about an industry that is under severe stress because the physical paper, though I still love reading the paper in the morning, and you may as well, it's still going to be there, but it's going to be a shadow of its former self. The music industry, LPs and CDs, and under severe threat. The military, are not, aircraft carriers and nuclear submarine kind of people anymore. We're jungle fighters, we're desert fighters, we're fighting an unregulated, undisciplined force that still is forming us a great challenge. So every single one of these things tends to go away. And as a result, things disappear. Boundaries disappear. Boundaries between occupations, between businesses, lawyers and accountants are now doing much of the same stuff. Different businesses getting involved. The boundaries between countries. We now have trade and information and money flow to where there's no real American money or even an American economy. There's a global economy and everybody's fighting. Middles go away. People who are in between two people making a transaction are literally disappearing. Stockbrokers, retail clerks, real estate agents. I'll even make the point that teachers standing between the student and the information are going to have to change their roles because they are middle. Places go away. Not that we have to be in a place, we're physical beings, so we need to be either in the house or an office or a place like this or whatever. But wherever we are, we can do whatever we need to do because we have our connection. We're at the office, got the phone, got the iPad or whatever, and we can be at work even though we're in a park or visiting our grandkids. And that can be a problem because we don't know how to turn it off, but it can also be a blessing in that I can be here and I can also teach my class in Houston because it's all online. Delays go away. Those of you political savvy people thought that I meant Tom delays. No, not Tom delays. The delay, the fact that though we blame our kids for not having delayed gratification, We're all instantaneous junkies. If that cursor doesn't come back in 10 seconds, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown, right? I now have to have it right away. I've got to have it now. I can't wait till tomorrow or next week. It's got to be now. And the world is speeding up, and the people, our customers and our suppliers, and everybody wants it now. Wait a minute, I can't give it. No, it has to be now. So if you have delays in your process, they're at risk.